Hi there guys, Kate back here and welcome to this channel. Today I'm gonna take you to a truly epic journey. We're going to cover 3 different cantons on a single trip. We will see Uri, Glarus and Lucerne. I will show you amazing, truly magnificent views, both from air and from land. And I will share the details of the route with you, so if you would want to repeat the experience, you wouldn't miss anything interesting. So let's take a look at the map. So we're going to start driving from Glarus to Urnerboden through Klausen Pass to Ash, and finally we will see a magnificent sunset and a beautiful lake of Vierwaldstattensee. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. An easier name exists as well, that's a Lucerne lake. It's the same thing. Starting our journey in a magnificent Glarus. Glarus is a lovely town that is also a capital of the canton of Glarus. Glarus lies on the river Linz between the foot of part of Schweizer Alps to the west and other part of Glarus Alps to the east. I don't know what can get more beautiful than being between two gorgeous mountain ranges. Very few buildings sadly survived the fire of 1861. However, the gorgeous symbol of the city, the neo-Romanesque city church, did, and that is to this day one of the most beautiful buildings here. The city is absolutely charming, would highly recommend a short visit. The most gorgeous aspect of it is just the fact that it's in this valley surrounded by mountains, making the city even a more picturesque one. And now to the next stop on our journey, Unported. Unported is a village in the high valley of the same name, Unported, and it is an Alpine permanent settlement in the Swiss canton of Uri. It is located right by the Klausen Pass, and Klausen Pass is the gorgeous road that we're going to take very soon. This magnificent pass sadly is closed between the month of October and May, just for the safety purposes, because sometimes it gets way too much snow there and it is simply dangerous to drive. To me, the experience was absolutely fascinating. Being in this village that to me was quintessential Switzerland, the church in the middle, the mountains on every side, gorgeous sky and gorgeous grass. Sometimes you really ask yourself, where do they get the colors? When you travel in Switzerland, I'm not sure if you've had a similar experience. The green is somehow greener and the blue is somehow, I don't know, more strikingly blue. Where are they getting these colors? I don't know, who is their supplier for the paint? And now we are approaching the gorgeous Klausen Pass. It is in German Klausen Pass, practically the same. Elevation of 1,948 meters, is a high mountain pass in the Swiss Alps connecting Altdorf in canton of Uri and Linthal in canton of Glarus. So it connects 2 different cantons. So this is a 46-kilometer unending, stunning drive. Would highly recommend the drive itself because it is simply gorgeous. It is obviously heavily used by the locals, but not nearly as heavily as it is used by the fascinated tourists that are driving there fairly slow, trying to really take in the beauties that surround them. This is one of the most famous sites here, Bruder Klaus Kapelle. So it's a Brother Klaus chapel. on the very summit, there is actually a lovely hotel, Pass Hohe. So if you would want to stay and enjoy the views in both sunset and sunrise, might be a good way to go. There are many amazing hiking grounds, and a lot of the tourists are very excited about it. And if you've been paying attention to the gorgeous clouds that we can see gathering right around the mountains, the particularly good time to see such gorgeous views would be end of summer and beginning of autumn, simply because the earth loses its heat, and that creates basically clouds all over the place, and oftentimes on fairly low altitudes, making the views even more stunning. And finally, we're making our way to arguably the most impressive site on our trip, Unterschachen, or Ash. So Unterschachen is a municipality still in the canton of Uri, a truly gorgeous place surrounded by impressive 3,000-meter peaks. Unterschachen is right on the way to the Klausen Pass, so we're entering it from the other side, and it has truly a lot to offer, from all sorts of sports, hiking, to relaxing in the nature. And certainly you'll get your money's worth, because the prices here quite a bit maybe lower than in many other places in Switzerland. One would be well advised to really consider the expenses when coming to Switzerland, because without a doubt, Switzerland is one of the most expensive countries in the world, according to LiQWYD cost of living survey and the Mercer one. Both found that cities in Switzerland are among the very top. Zurich, for example, is the third most expensive city in the world. So if you really want to experience quintessential Switzerland, maybe going for rural locations would be a better choice for your money and for your experience. And this is truly a quintessential Switzerland from my perspective. A gorgeous waterfall, the mountains, the valley, the grass, the cows, and all of that. They're actually great sites for barbecues. Everything is free. You can easily get your lunch here and enjoy the beauties of the surrounding nature. Particularly impressive in the place of Ash is the marvel of 100-meter high Stauben waterfall. You can see it up close, you can hike here, we're going to do it shortly, and we're also going to see it up from the air. A truly magnificent waterfall. Not so sure about you guys, but when I see such idyllic conditions of the wonderful, beautiful Swiss villages, I have this kind of calling of maybe going back to the roots, living off the land, making my own way through the, I don't know, forest or farm or what have you. There is something there, right? I don't know. Is it only me? Let me know in the comments below. And now we're slowly making our way to a gorgeous lake, the promised Vierwaldstättensee, or the Lucerne Lake if you prefer. I certainly do. On the way, you would see a whole bunch of small villages and towns with a great number of guest houses, so feel free to choose any place to stay. I thought they were all gorgeous. If you prefer more historical sites, it will be slightly more expensive. Then stay in the capitals of the respective cantons. If you don't care that much about history and architecture, then maybe staying in the guest houses in the mountains or in some smaller rural locations would certainly be cheaper. In terms of what you can get for entertainment, there's a huge variety of options for drinking. I'm not sure if you knew, but Swiss population consumes pretty substantial amounts of liquor. On average, Swiss consume 36 liters of wine, 56 liters of beer, and 8.3 liters of pure alcohol, if you boil it all down, per year per person. I repeat, per person. In spite of all of that, surprisingly, perhaps Swiss actually have one of the highest expectancy of life. It's the number one in Europe in terms of the highest percentage of people who are over 100 years old, and it is second only to Japan in the world. So what's the reason behind it? Well, we've seen quite a bit, the abundance of wonderful walking trails, lots and lots of hiking. Swiss are actually extremely active, and definitely high quality of healthcare. And last but not least, certainly the views. With this kind of views, I can live to 100 and beyond. Well, at least I would really want to, wouldn't you? And the last site on our list, the gorgeous, gorgeous lake in central Switzerland, the fourth largest lake in the country, the name of which, once again, Vierwaldstättensee, a preferred name, Lucerne, Lake Lucerne. First, this name was used in 16th century. Before the 16th century, the entire lake was simply known as Lucerne See, or the Lake of Lucerne. It remains to this day the Lake of Lucerne as a pre-16th century name of it. The three Waldstätte, usually translated as forest cantons, since 14th century were Confederate allies, the founding fathers of modern-day Switzerland, Uri, Schwyz, and Unterwalden. The notion for Waldstätten or vier Waldstätten with addition of Canton of Lucerne eventually. So this is basically where the name is coming from. 4 forest cantons: Uri, Schwyz, Unterwalden, and Lucerne. And that would be all for today's journey, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please put a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe so you don't miss future content. Thank you so much for joining, and see you next time.